right, everyone. This is just a fun video with my voters pamphlet for my state. Uh, we're voting for a variety of political offices this year, including governor and senator. But the governor one is the one that seems to have the most amount of people that have no business running, but anyone can run. And so I've chosen the top, I think it's like 5 or 6 people that range from like demonstrably incompetent sounding to the insane. So this is just a little fun. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to read each of their little blurbs. So this first one is Cassandra. She prefers the Democratic Party. She has no elected experience, no other professional experience. She graduated from high school and her community services are none, have always been too busy working, but at this point of my life, I am prepared to be a part of serving the community. This is her statement. My name is Cassandra. I was born April 13th, 1972, in Waukegan, Illinois. At the age of 3, I moved with my family to this state. I grew up in this area and attended schools here. I have a strong work ethic and am people oriented. I have gained many work related skills and worked with a variety of people. I have a passion to be the voice of the people and I will stand up for people's needs. I will go up and above to get whatever needs within reason are to be met. I believe every voice needs to be heard, and I want the opportunity to hear the voices of the people and work with you and for you. There are families with little to no food. Sometimes the only nourishment children receive is provided by the schools. There is a new federal program, and with a push from the senator, this summer program, funded by the state legislature, will provide families with a $120 preloaded EBT card for grocery stores and farmers markets. We appreciate the senator's ability to get funding and we are grateful. $120 is a good start, but as many of us realize, this amount will not cover the needs because food prices are skyrocketing, and if I'm voted in as governor, I will fight for this cause. Harsher laws for drug dealers, peddlers, and addicts need to be put in place. If we as a state are concerned about these issues, we need to get involved by contacting our local authorities, law enforcement, governor, and senators. We need safety and we need to protect our children. Other concerns and issues that need to be dealt with are more drug and alcohol rehabs. But the thing is that, so my issue with her is that she says, we need to get involved by contacting our local authorities, law enforcement, governor, and senators. She's running for governor. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it sounds like she would do great in a community position, but like she is not making any sort of good move that she would make a good governor. She's talking about contacting governor. You would be the governor. What are you doing? All right, this next person is Leon. He prefers Trump Republican Party. Elected experience, a business owner, entrepreneur, and CEO. Leon understands the intricacies of our economy and state. His track record as a master salesperson, winning the title of Salesman of the Decade, showcases his ability to navigate burdensome agency regulations. Other professional experience, Leon secured third place in the 2022 U.S. Senate primary election. Leon exposed negligent practices, oversight, and abuse within state agencies. He graduated from high school and state agent in aerospace and automotive. Community service. Leon is a relentless advocate for the interests of the community. His work has led to significant changes in compliance within state agencies. Statement. A call for real change to end the endless division MAGA 2024 in our movement, and justice is long past due. We see homelessness, drug abuse, and the grooming of our kids. It's time to deport all illegal immigrants and end sanctuary cities. However, regardless of your opinion on these issues, it's time for the people of this state to unite for real grassroots change. No other candidate possesses the skill set needed to lead us out of the darkness like myself. Anyone who tries to tell you about the challenges we face moving forward is misleading you. We have no way to assess the damages done to our state under the failed administration until we gain control of the real numbers and information. In my opinion, we've been given less than 1% of the information. It's the best interest of those who control the levers of power to keep the information from public consumption. The rot and abuse within state agencies are beyond imagination. They've been awarded the ability to defer corrective litigation to themselves. This division by issues separates us, but we need unity. I understand that many of you feel the voting system is rigged. If 1/3 of the population feels this way, it lacks confidence. However, even if they are cheating, not casting your vote gives it to them and no crime is done. Let's make them cheat. Once I win, I'll show you a whole new world of government controlled by the people. Please watch my video series on YouTube. You can access it from my website, and I'm not giving the website. I am a fierce opponent of CBDC as well as the WHO. We will destroy the uniparty with law and light and audit the 3-letter agencies. And it's worth mentioning that there's a lot of capitals where there shouldn't be. There's a lot of grammar error in his. And in general, like, he just sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theorist. And I don't know where he's getting this 1/3 of the population statistic, but I thought his was kind of fun to share. Next up, but it's worth noting this next guy is not running for governor. He's running for U.S. representative of his district. So his name is Matt. He prefers Trump Republican Party. His elected experience was junior class president in his high school. His other professional experience is kind of a variety. He worked in the military. Like, I don't really want to read all of this, although he does list his book, which is interesting. He's a teacher and CEO of his company, and apparently wrote a Bigfoot mystery series. So, education was University of Alaska, as well as he got a certificate from Washington State University and graduated high school. His community service is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormon, the American Legion. Statement: by their works ye shall know them. I have spent my life in the service of my community, teaching and the American people. In my year in Oman, I went to teach in the Middle East after the 9/11 attacks, and attacks is in quotations, to show the people of the Middle East not all Americans are warmongers. In my book, I'm not giving out his book name. I explain how the corporate government and its hack media keep us from thinking about any of the real issues. In a different book he wrote, I was assaulted, then charged with assault. In other words, the Democrats started using lawfare on me before they ever went after Trump. For 18 months, the county prosecutors terrorized my wife and I before I defended myself successfully before a jury. Finally, I trumped in a state of hate. I show why nobody should participate in a state election, but he's participating in a state election. Endorsed to lose. If you're looking for endorsements here, forget it. History show the Republican parties of this state do not endorse candidates who can win elections. Your friend and thinking leader in this state. The world is uniting against us, not because they hate us, but because the people we elect just want to make money and get reelected. There are issues with AI, the national debt, the migrant invasion, and world takeover by billionaires and their lowbrow stooges. Our leaders have the blood of millions on their hands. Before you and your family lose your property, your lives, your livelihood, your wives, mothers, and your children to rape, murder, random violence, fentanyl, desperados, jihadists, lockdowns, war, and hate, why don't you try something different for a change? Why don't you vote for Donald J. Trump and me and stop the cycle of insanity? So he's I what confuses me is that he says I show why nobody should participate in the state election, and he but like he frames it like he should be someone that's winning, and he just like half the shit he spent one his entire thing. This is the one bad thing about sharing this just through audio, is that you can't see the absolutely horrific grammar. There's so many weird capitalizations. He didn't italicize his book names. Like there's so many issues with how it's written, and they fully believe that they should be winning. Like it's just a little baffling to me. So I have one more person before we get to like the really crazy. And I'm actually not 100% sure I put this guy and the other guy in the right order. These were kind of hard. The middle ones were a little harder to um organize, but we'll go ahead. This is Alan. He has no political experience. His other professional experience was came to the U.S. to study Oriental and naturopathic medicine to combine various systems, but only had $200, which wasn't enough. I started in construction at $5 an hour. My bosses insisted I should do real estate. I did and have been working it for 30 years. With zero experience at start, I worked 9-day weeks. That's how it's written. I worked 9-day weeks, saved money, bought first house, second, etc. I bought, sold, cleaned up several dozens of homes and created a portfolio. Education, said he graduated from a medical academy. It looks like from the USSR. Honors diploma, physician, multiple foreign languages, all from USSR. Yeah, everything's from USSR, so I don't really like, and like there's but it's oddly framed here. Like honors diploma is written as its own thing, not as in connection to the medical academy. Physician, but then it's connected to foreign languages, which confuses me. This is very weirdly written, and I don't even know how to make heads or tails of it. No information on community service. His statement: I want to offer what's been missing, the vision and proper ideology necessary to transform our society. Imagine a place where prophylactic, preventative medicine and alternative healthcare options are thriving, where you can see a doctor quickly, where people are conscientious about what they think and do, where main motivation at work is to get the job done the best they can. A society where no attorney, politician, or judge dictates health choices. You decide what treatment and which doctor to consult. I work tirelessly to ensure that. But how do you work tirelessly to ensure that when you're a real estate person? See, this guy confuses me a lot. Imagine a future where issues like crime, squatters, drug abuse, homelessness, and skyrocketing prices are gone. These problems are solvable, some quickly and easily, but not by current politicians, and hiring thousands of cops will not stop the crime. It never did before, just kept it at bay. We have to change the way we think, interact, and live our lives. And I think I forgot to mention. Oh, I don't think I did list what party he prefers. So you can write whatever party name you have in, and he prefers Nonsense Busters Party. Nonsense Busters Party. So I want to add that in there. That requires different education, leading by example, and answering a question about the purpose of life. We need to rebuild families. I'll introduce comprehensive education reform to empower students and educators alike. Fucking how? This is what I guess I should have put him lower on the list. Like I see his ideals. He's not qualified in the slightest. He's a little delusional in that, but he's not as like out there as some of the others. We can have a government that is a friend, that will build roads and freeways that is promised for years but never did, that pays off the tolls, lowers the cost of car tabs for everybody, including residents of different counties, where the best and brightest and most capable are taking leading positions to create better opportunities for all. I understand the multifaceted challenges facing our state. My vision, education, experience in both business and personal struggle uniquely positions me to tackle this pressing issue. Together, we can create a state that thrives in every aspect. We'll have business friendly climate and try to bring back the businesses that left the state. So, Alan actually wasn't as out there as our previous two guys. I should have put him right after the woman. Um, but he still sounds incompetent to me because he's like listing all these things that he'll change, but he doesn't explain at all like how he would do that. I feel like he doesn't understand the system at all. But that's it for kind of the mostly just kind of incompetent sounding, or like they are a little too full of themselves sort of people. Everyone else, and I want to be clear, there's a ton of people that I am leaving out that seem like perfectly reasonable. Like their statements are reasonable. They're a lot of them don't have elected experience, but they are trying to outline something. They're often like one issue sort of people. And while I wouldn't vote for them, they didn't seem out there to me. All right, so this is our second to last person. This is Alex. He prefers the Stand Up America Party. No elected experience. Other professional experience, I have had a business consultant experience for multiple companies. Education is master's degree in engineering and management. Education from living under Soviet Union fascism, 35 years in the state in his current area. And he's talking about the state government has taught me more systems are absolutely so when comparing Soviet Union fascism and then the current like county system where he currently is, and he's calling them both fascist government, have taught me both systems are absolutely identical. I was a dissident under the Soviet Union and am now a dissident of the state and this county. And for the last many years, I have the best education with Dem Nazi fascist mob bandito regime. And this has changed my mind because I did not believe this could happen in America. No community service submitted statement. Trump, America first, USA, stand up America now. Stop Dem fascism with idiotic face and government anti Semitism. Stop dirty Dem Nazi fascism junta, bandito, and killer who has controlled us for 40 years. They make local government corrupt to the bones. For more than 30 plus years, I make 100 plus complaint to local government and not one positive answer. We have political police who act like the Gestapo and KGB. There are no more three separate branches of government. They act like one, just like communists and Nazis. Stand up, America! No matter your political view, we, the people, need to break this dirty chain and bring America back to common sense like we had from the beginning. This is what America is about, common sense, without dirty Dem crooks. I speak now to freaking slaves and happy cows. Stop Democrats who, for the last 20 years, made our lives miserable and is worse. These happy cows like to pay $6 for gas, double for rent and housing, triple for food and crime. Inflation and crime rates have gone through the roof, and local dirty government has done nothing to make our situation better. Stand up, happy cows and slaves. Bring America back under Constitution and law for everybody. A one party system is always fascism. Stand up, state, to bring us back to normal life. We have enough money in the system to make life better for everyone without a penny more from the people. No taxes for the first $100 spent on anything. We pay 100 billion for taxes. Enough is enough. Give ordinary people a little bit of air for breathing. Stop dirty fascist rats who drink from fat cat toilet. Make America great again. Make this state great again. Make this county great again. Stand up, America, now. Vote for Alex. So that was the slaves and happy cows one that I mentioned in my. Like, he's just. It sounds like a conspiracy theorist nutter to me. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? So this next guy is kind of like a state staple. He runs anytime there's like an open situation, and he's just a well-known nutter. He is currently running for senator. That last guy was running for governor, not for representative. The last two guys were running for governor. This guy is running for U.S. Senate for my state. And I'm not going to give you guys his name at all because it's all one word. He's actually so notorious, he has his own Wikipedia page. So he prefers Republican Party, elected experience, 25 times a candidate. This man notices the homelessness, poverty, and crime produced by big spenders, minimum wage, command economy. Other professional experience. As an amateur economist, small spending, this person invested and became prosperous in the stock market. Study economics. Education. Minnesota born, was educated in Germany, Sweden, and America. He lived and learned in Europe for about 12 years. This man knows some European languages and earned university bachelor's and master's degree. Community service. Free market. This man advocates for our orbital space program and against homelessness and crime caused by the minimum wage. Statement. We are still at the beginning of the space age. Please think of your Earth as a beautiful spaceship. We are the passengers and crew members of Spaceship Earth. We are traveling in space around our sun while our sun travels inside our Milky Way galaxy. I predict a prosperous future in space will come through orbital space colonization around our spaceship Earth and in the Goldilocks zone around our star, the Sun. Let's start with small space habitants. Also, let's save, boost up, and improve the International Space Station. Using voluntary competitive free market economics, let's raise the standard of living for the workers. Let's reject the big government command economy that through force and misallocation produces homelessness, wild spending, and poverty. Workfare is better than welfare. Welfare is a heavy burden for workers. Free market economics can rehabilitate Spaceship Earth by transforming problem people into productive people. Worldwide, we are struggling between command economies and free market economies. Profits grow jobs, but the minimum wage laws reduce profits, which decreases jobs. The workers create the goods and services that help make up the living standard. Then tricky taxation takes from the workers and gives to the welfare recipients. The workers are robbed, the incentive to work is decreased. The minimum wage of the command economy creates a stressful work atmosphere and decreases profits. The minimum wage of the command economy creates a stressful work atmosphere and decreases profits. Jobs are lost. Crime and poverty increase. Let's defend the incentive of profits that come from serving you, the consumer. Study free market economics. Abolish the job destroying minimum wage. Economies tell us how to raise the workers' living standard. Work builds up the living standard. Should we stop the population explosion that is exterminating the wildlife of Spaceship Earth? Should we replace the complicated federal income tax with a simpler head tax? And it just ends there. I think he had probably a whole manifesto and he ran out of space because you're only given so much space. But he regularly runs for different offices. He has his own Wikipedia page. Spaceship Earth is not a new thing. But I just wanted to share with you guys. Like, I hope this wasn't like a terribly boring video. These were just some statements from people that are running for local offices in my state that I found amusing. So I just wanted to share those with you. So I also just want to share some things that I finished reading. I recently finished reading What It Takes to Be a Villainess, and I have to say it was not as interesting as I had hoped. It's not bad. It's not bad. She ends up getting cheated on and then dumped by her boyfriend, and while she's drinking her sorrows away, she dies and is transported into this reality where she is competing to be the next empress for the crown prince. To like be the wife of the crown prince would become the crown princess and then the empress. And there's like some political stuff going on in the background, but it's all solved relatively quickly. About 2/3 of the way, it seems like most of it's solved. The villain of the story ends up coming back, but then is thwarted fairly quickly. And then the after stories are just like wholesome stuff. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad story. It's not a bad story at all. It was still plenty entertaining. It was fun to read, but it wasn't particularly complex. If you want like a sweet, straightforward love story that kind of is not quite an enemies to lovers, but almost an enemies to lovers sort of situation, it's a fine story for it. It's just not terribly complex. The Villainous Turns the Hourglass is way more interesting. So, The Villainous Turns the Hourglass starts with our heroine here dying. And right before she dies, right before her stepbrother cuts her head off, her stepsister comes and says, "By the way, I've orchestrated this whole event since we were children because your prostitute mother came into my house and married my dad." And because um, she's not the the I think he wasn't a duke, he was a count. Uh the count's daughter. He just fell in love with her mother, the protagonist's mother, and she kind of went along and wasn't abandoned, that sort of thing. There's a big reveal later about the origin of her birth, but it's kind of a reveal and I want to leave it as a reveal. And so she's reborn and there's a whole this unlike many stories, this one actually gives a full explanation of why she was reborn as well. So she's reborn and then she spends there's so much like if you want a really good revenge story, this is such a good revenge. It's just such a good revenge story because she gets to like she completely changes her image from what it was in her previous life where she was this kind of uncultured brat and a villainess herself, but she's able to reorchestrate everything. She's able to thwart those that were against her, and she's able to prove her worth to the family that basically paid her no mind, only to say like "fuck you" to them. Essentially, she brings the entire family down. Like I this is I mean that's a bit of a spoiler, but like the way she does it, it's worth reading because it is so good. It is so fucking good, and it's so satisfying. Because when you think that the revenge is over, when it's like, okay, she got her revenge, we're in it. No, it's not over. She's not done because she's still mad and she wants to make sure her revenge is complete. So it keeps going. Like if you want a really good revenge story, it's here. And then on top of that there's a after like the end and during the epilogues there's like 21 chapters worth of epilogues. But the 21 chapters are essentially their own mini story and they still work so well and it ends with a little bit of growth on the protagonist because she isn't like fully reformed or anything from her original ways at the end of the main story. So that epilogue kind of bridges that gap between where she ended in the main story and where I think the author wanted her to be. It's kind of a little bit reminds me of Artemis Fowl, where he starts off as kind of this arrogant, horrid child and then actually kind of develops into a good human being by the end of it. Kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Very well done. I love this series and I highly recommend it. And then lastly, I've been listening to this podcast called Overdue, where it's giving like synopsises of different books and what they thought of it. And it's just kind of like a chat session between two friends. And what I really like about it is that it kind of showed me books that I don't want to read. Like there's ones where they like I still really want to read Metamorphosis by Kafka at some point. because the whole concept seems interesting. They actually kind of sold me a little bit on All Quiet on the Western Front because I didn't think that was something I would ever want to read, but there was a level of interest to it in how war affects soldiers and that sort of thing that seems really interesting. It totally confirmed for me to not read Dune. Dune does not sound terribly interesting to me. The Turn of the Screw, I didn't know was a Henry James novel. I'm familiar with Henry James, fabulous writer, and I'll definitely read that. But I mean, it's just really interesting to hear the synopsises of these stories and kind of get an idea of, oh wow, that's like not at all what I thought, or oh, I see that now. I don't think I really want to invest the time in that. And it's done very like entertainingly. It's fun to have in the background. And what I really like about this podcast is if you do it while you're crafting or whatever and then stop listening for a few minutes because you get like really invested in what you're doing, when you come back and are like listening again, it doesn't really feel like you missed a huge amount. Like it's still you're still getting the benefit of the podcast and listening to it. So that's what I wanted to put out there for today. I think I've rambled on long enough. This was supposed to be a shorter video, but it looks like it might end up a little bit longer than I anticipated. So, yay. So, let me know what you thought of everything that was in the video today. I'd love to hear your thought on some of the statements of people running. And I'm just going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.